everyone, my name is Lexi. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about this whole situation that's going on between Jess Hilarious and the Breakfast Club. Child, the girls are fighting, okay? One thing about it, this absolutely was on my bingo card, okay? Whether you listen to the Breakfast Club or not, like, if you've heard the rumblings, you know what's kind of going on or whatever, like, you kind of were able to foresee that this was going to happen at some point or another. So I want to give my unsolicited two thoughts about this whole situation. If you haven't already, I invite you to subscribe if you like my vibe. Go grab your snack, grab your tea, grab whatever's going to make you comfortable as you were listening to me. I do have a lot to say and I have a lot of opinions about it. So without further ado, let's get right on into the video. So last night, Jess Hilarious took to her live and she basically was airing out all of her grievances about the Breakfast Club. Prior to that though, Corey Holcomb, he's a comedian or whatever. A comedian. I don't really find him to be so funny, but whatever. This guy has just been making his rounds around the internet, just saying a lot of salacious things. So I don't really pay attention to his content too much. But a clip was surfacing where basically he was talking about Jess Hilarious and her performance on The Breakfast Club.
She got the job and got knocked up shortly afterwards. And the worst thing in the world happened. They brought in somebody who was talented. She has experience with doing that. When she talks, her voice, I don't know her name.
Yeah.
The girl who is Lauren. That girl know what she doing. She knows how to fit in with Charlemagne and the other guy, DJ Envy. It's like it's seamless when she there. She had a segment on The Breakfast Club. The other girl who has experience and talent at this job took her segment. Right. Not because she tried to, it's just you saw somebody who's talented.
To a certain point, he was making some valid points. But then it got a little bit disrespectful and I was just like, all right, that was unnecessary. You could have said whatever you needed to say without disparaging Jess. Jess takes to her live and she's basically airing out her grievances. She's talking about how she no longer is really like having a great experience on being a part of the Breakfast Club anymore.
The craziest shit is, right? I wanted Breakfast Club so bad. I wanted it. I grew up on the show. The fuck? Like, what? Hall of Fame show? What are we talking about? Syndicated? This ain't my first time doing radio, but I'm just saying, like, this is the biggest fucking show culturally. I'm gonna say this. I don't fucking need to be there. I wanted to be there. I loved being there. I used to be happy as a motherfucker on the radio.
She's talking about the whole situation with Lauren LaRosa. Lauren LaRosa has pretty much been the one who's been holding down the fort for Jess Hilarious while she was on maternity leave. But she also was there, I believe, prior to when Jess was officially hired. Now, Jess Hilarious, when she got hired, I was just like, oh, okay, I think that's cute. Personally, and it's no shade, no tea, I personally don't find her all that funny. She has comical moments, I will give her that. I think that was an interesting choice for the Breakfast Club to have chosen her, and I thought, you know, this is somebody who we're relatively familiar with, whether you know her from Wildin' Out or her own social media. But I always thought that was a misfit because Jess Hilarious, like, you have to understand, we're replacing Angela Yee. Angela Yee was pretty much the person, you know, she was coming over here with a rumor report. She had to have her details. She had to have her facts. I've never known Jess Hilarious to be that person. I've never known her to be the one who's holding down the fort and giving us facts. Like, you know, she maybe have like a funny one-liner, two-liner or whatever. But to go from somebody where for however long, 15 years or so, Breakfast Club has been on. So to go from 15 years of like one person who's been over here delivering all of the news, all the tea, all the gossip or whatever, to somebody who kind of just does like funny bits, I thought that was a weird transition. But, you know, whatever, go with it. As she gets the job or whatever, she ends up getting pregnant.
I had a baby. In this industry, what I'm doing ain't no right time to have a baby, so you have them when you have them. I don't regret when I got pregnant. I don't. I got pregnant on fucking purpose. That's what I wanted, a baby, and that's what I got.
Okay. Personally, for me, if I just got a job and it's a job where I have to be like present on the airwaves or whatever, I think there's certain jobs where certain times you can get that off, but for the most part, even if you work down at Best Buy and all of a sudden you end up pregnant, like, they're going to replace you. So I'm just like, I don't know, I think that's kind of iffy, at least like wait till you get a little bit more skin in the game and then make those kind of decisions. But that's what she said she wanted, so she went ahead and she had a baby. Cool, no problem. So now she chooses Lauren LaRosa. Lauren LaRosa, who comes from TMZ. TMZ, who is basically known for reporting, being the first on the story, really, honing in and giving us details and facts right away, being the first person to do that. And I understand her thinking. She's just like, I want somebody who is going to be able to still keep the people entertained, keep the people aware or whatever, just hold the fort down while I'm gone. I understand the thinking. However, this is a trained journalist. Very similar to the role of what Angela Yee was playing on The Breakfast Club. So later on, fast forward, Jessie has her baby, cool, no problem. So then she comes back and Lauren LaRosa has still been in the seat.
You try to come back to work and the motherfucker is right there at your desk and ain't nobody telling you shit, mind you.
And I understood that was going to be problematic, but I'm also just like, the fans are also not going to be pleased if the person who they've loved for so long is just gone all of a sudden. So what was happening was that Jess was kind of still introducing her topic, but then it would be commandeered by Lauren as she was giving more of the tea and more of the drama and whatnot, just giving more of the details. So essentially, Jess with the Mess. And if you follow her on Instagram, Jess with the Mess was just like a little series that she had on her Instagram. It was something like really witty, really funny or whatever that she was doing all the time. So that's very different than somebody who is giving full-on commentary and details and working up stories to bring to the airwaves.
Jess with the Mess is not being done. Lauren LaRosa is doing the shit. So that need to be her segment. I fought for that segment.
Felt like what Lauren was bringing to the segment is no longer Jess with the Mess. Cool, and I understand that because that is completely a different monster. Listen, I have not listened to The Breakfast Club in some time, but when I saw Jess go on live and she was breaking down everything and she was airing these people out, man, 7:30, I was getting up for the gym. I downloaded iHeart so fast just so that I could see if she showed up for work. And my girl, damn, she definitely showed up for work. So I'm just like, all right, so now she's here. And they are having this long conversation. And I didn't even know that they were going to bring that to the air. But I respected it because I'm just like, you know what? You aired us out on Instagram. We're going to air this out live. That's a very interesting choice for y'all to make. But cool, go off. To Jess's point where she's just fighting for the segment, I didn't like the fact that Charlamagne and Envy were kind of gaslighting her to intentionally miss her point.
If you don't want Lauren in the room, this is your show. We can make that the change whenever you want. Did I not say that to you?
Yeah, you did. It is not about wanting her in the room, yo. It's about the segment. Like it was like, y'all
have that conversation
y'all wanted
off
her.
air. If you had a problem, say it to us. We had a meeting
conversations
yesterday.
Off air. What
not
is we
like
talking
that.
about?
Not like nobody having my back, because we have your back.
Her point is not necessarily Lauren has to go, but her point is saying that I signed a contract to be the third host. I didn't know that there was going to be a fourth host. I signed a contract that said that this is going to be my segment or whatever. This is what I bring. I understand that you won't want somebody to come in and step on your toes when you're over here, in the kitchen trying to cook.
But she's on only during my segment. If she was meant to be a fourth host, move her in another way. Why she got to be moved in on? Because nobody had a problem with Jess with the Mess until she started reading right. You know what I mean? Till she started reporting. I wasn't hired as a reporter. I was hired as Jess with the Mess. So she started reading and delivering details and all that stuff.
Yes.
Then that's when Jess with the Mess wasn't good enough no more.
She said that they had planned for how she was going to be reintroduced back to the seat once her maternity leave was up. All of those things have pretty much not gone the way it was previously discussed. Now she's just like, well, where do I fit in? So I understand her plight. However, again, when you leave for maternity, when you leave to take care of a baby or whatever, having children is beautiful, always a blessing. But sometimes the timing of these things is not always so advantageous. So in the time that she was gone, we're still listening to Lauren LaRosa and listening to her delivery, listening to her presentation. She's prepared. She's a journalist. She's professional. She is coming to the guests and everything with the proper questions. She is well researched. She is going, even when it was Wendy Williams, like she had went down to go and like visit her and see her and everything else like that. Like that is somebody who is dedicated to the craft. And let's all be so for real. Jess Hilarious is not dedicated to the craft the way that Lauren is. And I love the way that Jess did admit, you know, like she's doing her thing, she's that girl, she's this, she's that, or whatever. And that's true. But this is also a job where I don't even 100% want to put the onus on Jess Hilarious, but I do want to put the onus more so on the hiring of her. If she is the person who Power 105 has hired or whatever, and you know what she's about, you know what she brings to the table, to think that that would have been a suitable replacement for a journalist, Angela Yee, and that wouldn't have been somewhat problematic for a listener, I think that that's like really delusional to think that, oh, this is gonna be this is gonna be the person that's well suited for this job. I also think that the way that Jess conducted herself within the past 48, 24 hours or whatever has also been crazy. I don't think that you get up on a social media platform and you blast your employer and you blast like your experience or whatever, and you should expect longevity still with that company. So if she still stays there, I think that I would be super impressed because they were able to make it work out between the four of them. But right now, to me, my guess, I'm thinking that once that contract is done, that she's out of here. You know, we can't have our employee going off in the woodwork slandering us. So I don't think that was the right move to make. Charlamagne in the background, who's like gaslighting her and, you know, asking her stupid questions about like, oh, where's your headscarf? Where's your do-rag?
Can I ask a question?
What?
Why didn't you wear the do-rag this morning?
And it's not a do-rag, it's a silk scarf, nigga, but it's not. It's not a joke.
Bring it to the radio, I want to laugh.
It's not a joke,
okay?
but
why is that? Like, I'm telling you something serious right now. But she did mention something that was very important, because she was saying how Charlamagne pretty much was like encouraging her to play into the narrative that there is beef between her and Lauren.
I told her be quiet the next day. Charlamagne texts me and he says, yo, don't tell her be quiet. You tell her shut up. Play into that narrative of y'all beefing, y'all not liking each other.
Why would you tell her to do something like that? That's first of all. But however, I also am putting a little bit of the onus back on Jess, because you're grown. You're an adult woman. You make your own decisions for yourself. You have all full autonomy on your motor skills, your thinking skills, like whatever. You shouldn't have been doing that anyway, because it's never a good look to go on air and belittle your coworker or like just berate them in front of your billions and like thousands and millions of fans. So now he's there today and he's basically telling her like, oh, like I don't believe in pitting women against each other.
Say stop listening to the internet, stop listening to the comments, stop listening to the folks on YouTube. Don't let them trick you out your position. What you did last night is what they want you to do, and you can't let the internet win.
No, but look, it's not even about what they want me to do. I did last night what I wanted to do, what I felt like I should have been did. I've been asking questions.
The internet loves mess. And one of the easiest ways to create mess is to pit people against each other, especially two women. And I don't dwell in that. And y'all know that.
yeah, but see, this.
But you also encourage that kind of behavior. So whose side are you really on? So I don't like that sense of gaslighting that Jess was experiencing while she's up there telling her truth. So Lauren came in, and I think Lauren had talked to her, like, you know, the first day that she wanted to come back, and ask her, you know, how are you feeling about the whole situation?
The last time I attempted to do that, Jess, it went so bad that I said I wasn't going to do it again.
Attempted to do what?
I don't dislike you, you don't dislike me. The day you came back. The day you came back, that's what my intentions were.
And you have to admit that ish was crazy. The way we had a setup, we had something going, we had a whole nother plan. It went left. You came in here and it's like you did something totally different. The first thing that you spoke to was the things in the comments.
I think that was the right thing to do, because I'm a very direct person myself. If I know that there might be a potential issue, let me talk to you about it first. Let me see how you're feeling, and then we could figure out a plan from there on or whatever. I'm very direct like that. Jess is over here talking about you know, that was the first conversation that I'm being hit with. I'm not being asked about my baby. Girl, we're here at work. Like, we could talk about your baby when we're not making money right now. We are here to figure out and iron out and hash out things that are going on in this very moment that's going to affect both of us. So it more so, like, when I was hearing that part, it sounded like she just didn't want to be bothered with that issue at the moment, or it sounds like she's like suppressing a lot of her issues and she's keeping it to herself.
We just have a meeting. If you had an issue, a problem, a situation, or something that you felt, Why you ain't bring it to the team?
Closed mouths don't get fed. So either you're going to say something or we're going to continue going the way that we've been going. And Lauren was also addressing the fact that, you know, you were telling me to shush. You were telling me this. Like, I'm a grown woman. Like, my mother doesn't even talk to me like that.
So the part about the talking over each other and the hush, be quiet, because you talk about how you feel in real time, right?
Yeah.
I'm feeling in real time. That be quiet. That was crazy. The shut up. I was like, oh, okay. Because what we really giving up here? Like, what's up?
Okay,
right?
But
I didn't.
None of that was said.
You
didn't say anything about that.
And then
That's not professional. And here's the thing, we're dealing between two people who have two different business dynamics. This girl, once again, she comes from like TMZ and she's a producer. Like, she is going to do things the right way. And she had also like brought in somebody else on their team when she approached Jess to have a conversation about the way that she's speaking to her.
And when I pulled you into the office with our EP with Eddie, the first thing I said to you was, Jess, we fighting for airtime and it shouldn't be like that. I want to know what can I do better as the two women sitting right here next to each other to make sure that don't happen, because it doesn't look good.
Literally swear to God, I don't even remember you saying that.
And that's exactly why I had Eddie in the room, or EP, to have the
never
conversation.
ever heard.
Which is the right way. This 100% corporate way to handle your issues with a coworker. Overall, I just think that Jess was upset because she returned and Lauren was still there. She was upset because she wasn't communicated with. All 1000% valid complaints, but the way that you go about it at the end of the day, I don't know, you could have done more harm than good, and I don't think that that was the right way to go about it. Nobody wants to experience security and then all of a sudden being super uncertain. However, going online and also talking about how you're booking gigs and you're doing XYZ, you're doing all these projects, like all these other things that you do are more fun than what you're doing here at work. That is problematic, girl. And you can't just be up online saying stuff like that for your employer to hear you. Like, yes, free speech. Yes, say whatever's on your mind. Yes, express yourself or whatever. But there is a way to go about that. And then there's a way that you go about it that gives literally your employer all right and accessibility to fire you. I am so glad that Lauren got her own segment, because I think that that's fair. Both of them, they do two different things. Let them both have their own segments, that they have their own opportunities to shine. I think that most viewers and most people listening are going to be very open and happy to have both of these ladies on the platform. So I don't see why it necessarily has to be a beef, but I think that the issue here, the true issue, is the lack of communication between management and between the four of them. Drop down in the comments and let me know how you feel about this whole situation. What are your thoughts? Have you listened to The Breakfast Club? What do you think? Do you prefer 3 hosts? Do you prefer 4 hosts? Like, are you happy with the situation? I want to hear all your thoughts, so drop down in the comments and let's talk about it. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Mwah! Take care.